It started with a family group chat, one I hadn't been active in for a while, mostly because my messages got ignored, or worse, mocked with inside jokes I clearly wasn't part of. But I still kept it, out of love and that tiny hope that maybe this time I'd be invited into the laughter instead of being the punchline. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. I was 67, a retired school teacher, widowed for nearly a decade, and still the one who helped pay for half of my family's big dreams. Tuition, emergency rent. Mom, it's just till Friday. Aunt Helen, can I borrow your card for the hotel hold? Over the years, my wallet had become their emotional crutch, one they leaned on without ever turning around to say thank you. So when I saw the photos, my heart sank. The first picture was of my 3 daughters, their husbands, and even the grandkids, smiling on the deck of a cruise ship, champagne in hand, sunlight painting their skin golden. The caption, "Finally off on our dream vacation." There was no mention of me. I scrolled through 10, maybe 12 more pictures. Laughter at the buffet, spa robes, the kids clinking mocktails, even a shot of the entire family standing under a banner that said, "The Wilson's Family Cruise 2025. I blinked hard. My surname, my bloodline, my absence. I texted Marissa, my eldest. "Sweetheart, was I not invited?" It took her 4 hours to reply. "Oh, Mom, we figured you wouldn't enjoy it anyway. You get seasick, remember? And it's mostly for photos and fun. Honestly, you wouldn't have liked the itinerary. It's all loud music and tight dresses." Followed by a laughing emoji. Then from my youngest daughter's husband. "Yeah, and no offense, you've said it yourself. You hate being in photos. Wouldn't want to make you uncomfortable." Wouldn't want to make me uncomfortable? The only thing uncomfortable was realizing that my own family had decided I wasn't worth being seen with. A few days later, while the family was still off on their cruise, posting reels of sunsets and snorkeling adventures, I sat alone in my small lakeside cabin, staring at an old album, one that I had put together, baby photos, graduation shots, every one of them carefully labeled in my handwriting. I'd given them everything I had, and now, apparently, I was too old to look good in photos. It wasn't about the cruise. It was the audacity, the coldness, the decision to exclude me and then justify it with shallow vanity. But I didn't cry. No, I called Harold. Harold was my husband's oldest friend and the closest thing I had to a business advisor. Back when Jim passed, Harold helped me put part of our retirement into a quiet investment account. A few smart properties. One, in fact, had just sold, at a tidy profit. "How much liquid do I have?" I asked calmly, sipping my tea. He laughed. "Enough to ruin someone's day. What are you planning, Helen?" I smiled. Something poetic. By the time they docked in Barbados, my plan was already in motion. I'd called the harbor's concierge service and put down a deposit for a week's charter on a private yacht, docked just 1 pier over from theirs. It wasn't about flaunting wealth. It was about reminding them that the woman they deemed too old, too invisible, and too unwanted was still very much here. And she was no one's afterthought. The day they docked, I was already there. The crew of my chartered yacht, a sleek ivory beauty named Serenity Pearl, welcomed me aboard with warm towels and fresh fruit. I wore a wide-brimmed straw hat, my late husband's vintage sunglasses, and a linen jumpsuit that clung to my figure just enough to remind myself I was still a woman, not a shadow. I didn't announce my presence. I didn't need to. I let them discover me. It happened sometime after their buffet brunch. From the sun deck, I heard the voices first. Laughter, children squealing, someone shouting, "Group photo by the pier!" I sat calmly under a white parasol, sipping a mango mocktail while reading The Art of War. I knew the moment Marissa spotted me. Her voice wavered. "Is that Mom?" A hush fell. I didn't turn. Then I heard Lindsay's husband mutter, "Damn, that boat's nicer than ours." I gave it 10 seconds. Then I turned slowly, lifted my sunglasses, and offered them the softest, most knowing smile of my life. "Oh," I said, standing up. "Didn't expect to see you here." You could have heard a pin drop. They fumbled for words. Marissa was the first to stammer. Mom, what? Why didn't you say you'd be in Barbados? I figured you'd want a peaceful vacation. No interruptions. Isn't that what you all said? They looked away. I stepped down from the yacht onto the dock, the ocean breeze blowing gently against my scarf. I didn't want to ruin your pictures. You know, being too old to look good in them and all. Marissa flushed. Mom, that was taken out of context. I held up a hand. It's fine, truly. I just wanted to get away myself. And this yacht? Well, it turns out being invisible for years helps build quite the rainy day fund. That stung, especially for my son-in-law, Brian, who'd borrowed $15,000 from me last year to cover his startup dream. Spoiler, he'd bought a golf simulator. But I wasn't done. You know what's funny? I added, casually pulling out my phone. I bought a week here, but I just spoke with the charter rep. Turns out the actual yacht next to yours, it's been for sale for 6 months, fully furnished, comes with a private chef. Their heads turned as the captain of the adjacent yacht unfurled a sold banner on the upper deck. Brian's eyes widened. You bought it? I shrugged. Why not? You said I wouldn't enjoy cruises. But this is mine. I even renamed her. They read it then, painted in elegant cursive on the hull. Second chance. My daughters were silent, the kind of silence you only hear when shame slaps harder than the sea wind. I didn't come to fight, I said softly. I came to live, alone if I have to, but not unwanted. Then I turned to the chef. Can you please prepare 1 extra table setting for dinner? He nodded. I walked back on board, slowly, gracefully, and let the sun follow me like it always had, quiet, radiant, and never asking for applause. They stood there, watching. For once, I was the one they couldn't crop out of the picture. That evening, the dock was quiet, except for the laughter and soft jazz drifting from Second Chance. Candles flickered along the teakwood dining table as my personal chef served a sea bass fillet with saffron risotto. I dined alone, but I wasn't lonely. I had peace. Halfway through dessert, there was a knock. A hesitant, unsure knock on the polished rail of the yacht. I looked up to find Lindsay standing there, her once perfect beach curls now slightly windblown, her face flushed not from sun, but from guilt. She didn't speak at first, just looked around. This is beautiful, she said finally, her voice low. Really beautiful. I took another bite of creme brulee. Thank you. It's the first thing I've bought for myself in years without asking anyone's opinion. Lindsay stepped aboard slowly, carefully, as if worried the deck would reject her presence. We didn't mean it, Mom. That thing about the cruise photos, it was just a joke. I looked her in the eye, calm and unflinching. But you laughed. You all laughed. She blinked fast. I know. And when Marissa sent that itinerary and left you off, I should have said something. I didn't want to cause drama, but I see now I caused damage. Silence. Then she added, I brought something. She handed me a small velvet pouch. Inside, an old, wrinkled photo, me holding her as a baby, both of us smiling under a tree in our old backyard. Folded with it was a handwritten note that read, I forgot the woman who always stood behind the camera. I forgot the one who paid for my wedding dress while wearing the same 2 blouses for 5 years. I forgot my mother when I tried to impress the world. I'm sorry. I folded it back gently. I don't hate you, Lindsay, but I won't shrink anymore to fit into your frame. She nodded tearfully. Can I join you for dinner? I smiled, then gently shook my head. Not tonight. As she left, I noticed Marissa and Brian watching from their ship, hollow smiles painted over stunned faces. They had offered no apology, no olive branch, just shallow nods from their rented deck. But I didn't need their guilt. The next morning, a soft knock came again, this time from Rosa, the housemaid who had quietly worked in our family home for over 20 years. She was now in her 60s with tired hands and a heart far bigger than any of my children's wallets. I saw the picture, she said, smiling gently. You look like a queen on your throne, Senora. I invited her aboard for breakfast. We talked, we laughed, and I told her what I hadn't told anyone yet. I sold the house, the one I kept cleaning, funding, and fixing while they dismissed me. The deed? It's yours now, Rosa. You spent your life taking care of others. Someone should take care of you. Her hands trembled. She cried in disbelief. I don't deserve— You do, I said firmly. You always have. That afternoon, as Second Chance set sail again, away from the place where I had once been treated like an afterthought, I watched the other yacht shrink in the distance. Let them post their filtered smiles. I had something better: freedom, dignity, and the joy of giving to someone who never expected anything. They had the cruise, but I had the ocean. And finally, it was mine. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.